we're going to move on for the week and instead talk about artificial intelligence. Zach Williams from Bloomberg Law has been covering that in New York. Zach, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So artificial intelligence is something that has really been blowing up with things like we hear about ChatGPT, we hear about stuff in cars, things like that. How is AI used in our real lives right now?
Well, I think people would be surprised how much artificial intelligence has been around for many, many years. Yeah. From the suggested movies and TV shows on Netflix that you see, to spell check on your computer, to the automated screening tools that employers use when they look at your resume. That last one might be something that most people don't really think about, but most employers for years now have just looked for certain keywords in your resume or your cover letter, and if those kind of meet their algorithm, then you're the person that they agree to meet in person. So there's all sorts of different things. So, artificial intelligence is really just this range of tools, these, automation, machine learning is something you hear a lot about, but really it's just a whole bunch of math kind of figuring out patterns and what might fit it and what people, want to use.
When something like this continues to kind of grow and emerge and people are concerned about where they might be seeing it and might interacting with them, we often get into a conversation about regulation. And in New York, I don't know where we are in AI regulation, but let's kind of zoom out for a second, because I know that you've gone to some conferences in the past couple of months and talked to a lot of people about this. What does it look like around the country? How are other states thinking about AI?
Well, it's been a little piecemeal. There's a lot of political gridlock in DC, so not a lot has gotten done in Congress. Quite a few states have set up commissions or task forces, to really look at how AI or automated systems are already used in their states, create some sort of reporting mechanism, and some have even gone so far, like Vermont, to actually establish a state division of artificial intelligence, which is really just a couple people kind of in an office, tasked with the idea of, really thinking ahead what might be good uses of artificial intelligence and where might they want to pause and think about the consequences before implementing them.
So what about New York? I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard a lot about AI in the legislature as they've been, passing legislation. I know you asked the governor about it in August, and she had a response kind of saying that she wants to take a look at it. But can you actually just expand on what she said? How is the state looking at this right now?
Well, right now, they're kind of like looking at how they should look at it.
Yeah.
There is legislation.
They're planning to plan.
Exactly. There was legislation passed by the Senate and the Assembly this year that would set up a state commission. They would have lots of smart people. They would write a report. They would recommend how to maybe deal with AI. The governor suggested that she might go her own way. Governors don't like these study bills after all, and set up some sort of a summit. But, there's a long-term, will they take our jobs, Terminator kind of class of problems with AI potentially. Right. But there's also much more immediate things. We got the elections in 2024. Legislation that passed this year that Hochul could sign would ban deep fake revenge pornography. Oh my gosh. That's where people take, these generative AI like ChatGPT or dall-e for images, and maybe take someone's photo and put it on a pornographic image. And that's not technically illegal right now. Revenge pornography, which is an intimate image that maybe you took with someone's permission or without their permission, but then disseminate, that's illegal in New York, but not if you fake it. So that could end pretty soon. And I think that's like kind of really the first instance where we'll see kind of like computer-generated fakes becoming illegal. Now, with the elections coming up, this could become a huge issue.
That's what I was just thinking is like if they can get away with it with, fake revenge porn, what's to stop somebody from doing a AI-generated video of a presidential candidate saying something crazy to convince the public that they shouldn't vote for them, something like that?
I mean, all of this is unregulated, and it would really depend. There are current laws. Now, say, Lord forbid, somebody decided that they would impersonate Dan Clark and say things that Dan Clark didn't say. Say, vote for me, Dan Clark says I'm great on New York Now. Now, maybe there are issues with defamation or libel, but your likeness is different than your copyright.
Right.
And we've already seen this with authors, even on go to Amazon and you'll find books that are written in the style of this person or that person. Now, some authors have tried to sue or protest, get it delisted, saying, hey, I didn't write this, but it wasn't like they're claiming you wrote it. They're just saying it's in the style of John Grisham, or it's in, because they asked ChatGPT, please write this like, Dan Clark would write it. So there's all sorts of different applications right now. New York now needs to be worried. State legislatures should be concerned. AI has just this ability to really shake things up in all sorts of interesting ways, kind of like social media 10 years ago.
I know. I could be fake right now, and our audience would have no idea.
He's not.
I'm not fake. And I guess you don't know if I'm telling the truth. That's the problem with it, is how could you ever know? And when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking of companies like OpenAI that does ChatGPT. And if the state starts to introduce regulations and stuff, do you see this being a big fight?
Well, we're already seeing companies kind of on a charm offensive out there. Amazon, Microsoft, Google, have all been, meeting with state lawmakers across the country, with federal lawmakers, and just trying to put a good face on AI. And it is true, there are a lot of great things that these automated systems are capable of. They're much touted, say, with medicine and spotting things like cancer and stuff. But we've also seen in the history of their application that there's a lot of hype, like Watson, which beat a human in Jeopardy. They tried to get it to look at cancer. These tools, when they're made for a specific purpose, they're really good at it. And when they're made for a different purpose, they can go in all sorts of different ways. So I think we're going to see a lot of piecemeal legislation on, say, elections, or what I mentioned with deep fakes, but a comprehensive, what do we do about the robots totally changing our world solution, I think is at least a few years off. A lot of people liken it to nuclear weapons. You're going to need to see this at an international level to really deal with it in a way that will save humanity forever. Hopefully.
It's really
It's
interesting. It is a big question, and we'll have to have you back to talk about it, because AI seems to be just kind of getting more into our lives. So we'll have to keep a close eye on it. Zach Williams from Bloomberg Law, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll link to some of Zach's stories on our website. That's also where you can find more news from the week, stories from across the state, and more. All that is at nynow.org.